Good day, everybody. I'm Ocean Blessed B. I don't know when to look, if to look here. Right, nice. I'm Ocean Blessed B, and I know I am guilty of not always being on YouTube. I had an issue where my phone was giving issues to record. Every time it was saying a memory on my phone was full and I had to delete things. It was frustrating. I couldn't delete some of the stuff on my phone. So I got another device and I decided to venture back into YouTube. And this video is about generational curses, right? Now, as you all know, I'm a spiritual practitioner, I'm a dream therapist, I'm a hypnotherapist, I'm a CBT counselor, I am an ordained minister. I'm so many things. I do exorcisms, I do spiritual therapies, I'm a crystal therapist. I'm a meditation instructor. Okay. I do a lot. Let's just simplify it as that. I do a lot, and I'm qualified in all what I do. On top of the qualifications though, because I'm also familiar with metaphysical science and stuff like that, I have my degrees in that. On top of that, I was also born with certain gifts, which is why I was inclined to go into my field, which I am in now professionally. Now, the reason why I have to explain those things is because I just want you all to know I know what I'm talking about, okay? So, from so from a professional standpoint and a personal standpoint, right? Personally, as you all saw in my previous YouTube videos, I spoke about when I came out and I started telling the public what I was. I mean, honestly, I couldn't really hide that. It was something that sometimes I would just end up in situations where I would end up helping people and that sort of thing. So it was not an easy road going along, because unfortunately we still in modern 2023 and still experiencing ignorance based on people's historical beliefs that what we do, which is more old than what they do, is evil, is necromancy, and that's another thing, understanding what necromancy is. Alright, necromancy, actually the origin of the word means divination of the dead. And if you really check a lot of the religions, actually even the ones who chastise what I do, they practice necromancy and they don't even know it. They don't even realize what this, when they see things to people, what they say, it does not make sense for them to say it, because you basically worship someone who died and came back, right? You celebrate Easter, which is another thing by itself, because in that Easter is actually the celebration of the goddess Ishtar, the goddess of fertility and sex, the Babylonian goddess of fertility and sex, right? So, you know, there are a lot of things. I didn't really want to get into that because there are so many pointers I could make about, you know, these sort of things. I tell people, don't waste your time trying to judge other people. Try to understand them and try to understand what they're for. I don't know if you will see. Yeah, you'll see me. And try to learn from people's experiences instead of judging, because some people are not even aware of what they're into, right? They're not even aware of what they stand for. I don't believe in religion. Let me get that straight. I do believe in spirituality, right? So even though I was born with certain gifts based on my cultural bloodline, I do believe in spirituality. I may practice certain things within my cultural bloodline, but spirituality is top on my list. So when people ask me what religion I am, I just simply say I'm a spiritualist. Right? So let's get down to what I really wanted to talk about, right? What I really wanted to talk about is curses, generational curses particularly. Now, a lot of people have reached out to me when they reach out to me particularly for a reading. Part of my readings, I would check when I'm up and down in your frequency. I would check to see if you have any generational curses. The reason why I do that is so to clarify where it came from, where it started from. It may be way before you were even born. You understand? Way before even your mother was born. That's how far back generational curses can start. There are different types of generational curses which people are unaware of, because people assume generational curses most times would come from someone who did it to the family. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying that persons outside of the family cannot put things into the family, but generational curses also sometimes come from within the family. Within. And I will explain to you how that happens. Granny may, or great granny or grandpapa or grandmama may have done something to someone, right? And they may have done something that they weren't supposed to do to someone, and that person decided to go to a spiritual person to deal with them in that way, putting a generational curse onto them. If they don't pay for it, your children, your children's children, your children's children are going to pay for what great granddaddy or grandmommy did, right? So it may be payment due as the universal law permits. You understand? Because what you give is what you would receive, right? So as above, so below, right? So if you put that energy out onto someone negatively and they decide to do something which is karmic for you, and you did not receive it in full, you didn't live out enough to receive it in full, your children, your children's children can pick up that. Now, what's unfortunate about generational curses, right, is that when you have children now and your children decide to continue to do ill will and wrong or whatever against people, that generational curse from before builds and it goes on. So it sometimes some people could never pay back the universe for the wrongs they've done to persons. You understand me? So this is why you have to be very particular with generational curses. The unfortunate thing about another thing that can happen too is generational curses, where a family member may decide they are going to sell out the whole family. And I mean literal sell out. I mean they want their riches now. They don't care about future. They don't care about the children or children's children or whatever happened to them. They sell all you out. They will sell all your ass out for material gain, for instant gratification. They don't care. They don't care what it costs. So even if they go to a spiritual individual and that person says, listen, I'm willing to give this to you, I'm willing to do this for you, but it's going to cost your children suffering, your great-grandchildren suffering, or they may say your great-great-great-grandchildren, 6 generations suffering, or 7 generations, depending on whatever. And these certain family members would say, I don't care about that, I'll be dead by then. They don't care, right? Unfortunately, the children, the children's children, the descendants, they suffer the consequences of your ancestors' bullshit. I would just play plain. Yes, so you find that people would make assumptions about these type of generational curses and think it's just something that just comes out of thin air. No, it's cause. There's something called cause and effect, as you all know, and these things do indeed happen to persons where you are innocent in it. It have some descendants, they live in a decent life, they're trying to live a proper life, and for some strange reason, for nothing, they could never succeed or see the way. When they think they make 2 steps forward, they end up making 3 or 4 steps back, and they're wondering, well, what's causing this? They even feeling the energy, a negative energy, a negative entity holding on to them literally. And when these set persons, the innocent descendants, have children, now the children are suffering with it also. So I would say honestly that these are things that has to be taken seriously, because it comes like a hereditary disease, right? When you are aware of what your family has medically, like a disease, you know, great grandpappy used to suffer with the heart, you know to yourself that you have to get yourself checked to make sure that you don't suffer with your heart as well, right? So these are things that I hope all you're seeing me. All right, these are things that happen, right? Now when you're addressing generational curses, right, I tell people honestly there are different ways to deal with it, especially when you're dealing with generational curses that has reached to the point where it's built up into an entity that's literally physically attacking you. It's no longer, you know, doing little nitpicking things like making you lose your job or mashing up your relationship. Those are nitpicking things they would do, those are things they would constantly do, right? Then you would notice that all your family having issues with money, all your family having issues with relationships, all of your family divorce. When they get married, they divorce within a year. It's a certain pattern. You would notice a pattern happening with your family, certain behaviors. All your family, and your males in your family, all of them in jail. You understand? Whether they're innocent or guilty, all of them ended up in jail. It's a pattern. You would see it. You would definitely notice a difference between that and random happenings. You understand? And when you're addressing these sort of generational curses, you have to go to someone to assess you. And I don't mean go to every and anybody. Make sure that whoever you are going to, you are comfortable with them. One, you feel, well, okay, you feel you can trust this person with certain things about your auric field. I always tell people, when you're going to a spiritual practitioner, if you're not comfortable, don't go. I tell people when they come to me, even me, if you don't feel comfortable with me, then you and I'm not supposed to deal with you. I'm not the one to deal with you. I am as fair as possible. I really don't care if it is that your friend, best friend, had a good, interaction with me professionally, and your friend may recommend you to me, and you are scared, you are nervous, you're not feeling comfortable. I will tell you, darling, with all due respect, I am not the person to deal with you if that's the case. I suggest you sit down, reflect, meditate, and decide on who is best to deal with you. That's how I do it. I really don't care, about the, honestly, we all need, but at the same time, I try to follow the doctrine and the right thing. You understand? So you go to someone that a practitioner that you can trust. Let them evaluate you. Let them evaluate the situation. Let them evaluate the severity of the curse, because as I said, there are certain curses where it's now become a big entity now, where they are terrorizing your whole house. They are terrorizing you. I've had cases where certain clients, all generations, once you have a daughter in the family, all of them are experiencing being spiritually raped. They're actually feeling someone humping on them. They're actually feeling someone inside them, you know, feeling that energy of someone having sex with them. That is because that in that entity, that is what it does. And the reason, let me go into that case. The reason why these ladies in that family was experiencing that, upon investigation, right, come to find out, great grandpappy, right, was a rapist. And the individual that came to me, I told them about it, and they went and they investigated. And you see, there are certain things within certain families that people just try to cover up and hide. But I'm telling you, when it comes to the universal law, you can't hide these things. So this individual's great was a rapist, used to rape women, and they had children. The rapists in the family had children, and the persons who were raped went to spiritual persons to deal with them accordingly. And hence the reason why the revenge, well, you would call it revenge, the revenge was, okay, you raping my daughters, you raping people girl children, okay, all your girl children will experience from generations forward being raped. Sadly, it's unfair to the descendants, but sadly, as I said before, in some cases, you are paying for your ancestors' bullshit. I'll be honest with you, it's plain talk, bad manners. You are paying for your ancestors' bullshit. So when you address where it came from and you address the severity of it, then you have to address how to deal with it. Now, in some cases, when I'm dealing with certain clients, I may recommend things that they can do at home, where they don't have to come to me. I don't have to charge them. I would just tell them, look, now go and get so, and go and get so, and do so. The simple things that are safe for a person to do, and if I see it's at that level, I would recommend certain things they can do at home. In some cases, they may have to balance between both. Me recommending certain things for them to do at home, and me also dealing with them. Now, if your house is being terrorized by these entities, or you personally are being attacked, or your children, or your baby, then you definitely need what the public would know as an exorcism. And I do exorcisms, so you find that it's something that is a part of my job when I'm dealing with these sort of things. Of course, if it is you're dealing with a generational, when these generational curses, if you're dealing with someone from the outside who hexed the family, that is usually what you refer to as an hex. Then I will go through the process of doing an unhexing and sending that energy, sending that energy back to the person who was supposed to pay for it, because honestly, it's really unfair that innocent people, family members, have to pay for their ancestors' bullshit. Which is why I just tell people, be responsible for the things you do. Just because it's just you, it's me, ego, me, people don't think about the things they do and the things they do to others, right? Because you might feel you good, you safe, you protected, but somewhere down the line, your children's children, and your children's children, your descendants, everybody had to pay for your bullshit. You understand? So you have to make sure that you rectify whatever situation you had to deal with, when it comes to persons. Anyway, so that is basically what I needed y'all to know. As y'all could always inbox me. Actually, I'm going to put up a link with this video, and you could also email me at oshunblessedbe@yahoo.com. all right, Love, peace, and joy from Oshun Blessed Be.